Hello everyone, today I'm going to be reviewing my brand new keyboard that I'm using with my main computer, the Corsair k70 LUX RGB with cherry mix brown switches. I've had this keyboard already for a few weeks now and I've sort of gotten used to it. This is the first mechanical keyboard I've ever used before and so far I am loving it. The keyboard itself is very heavy, however that is no surprise considering the exterior is made mostly out of metal, and I am talking aircraft grade brushed aluminium plating all across the front and sides and everywhere. And it gives that like professional look to it and feel, so you know you're putting your money's worth into this keyboard. And then we get onto the media keys on this keyboard. It comes with a volume mute key as well as a volume wheel made of metal itself, which is really nice in there. Looks great. It's not got the same mechanical switches like the actual keys do, so it's still got that mushy feel to it. However, it's still really nice here and it looks perfect in the keyboard. And underneath that is the stop button as well as the rewind, forward wind and play, pause and skip key. So they are nice to have with the keyboard and can be really helpful if you don't like having to actually move over to your speakers or go onto the actual computer home screen and change it from there, which is really nice when you're playing a game and you can't exactly be doing that, and it's much easier to just slide your finger over the media key. This comes with a single USB pass-through port, which is an extremely good add-on to have on a gaming keyboard. So this is really nice, and it also makes it easier to unplug because my computer, when you turn it off, it doesn't disable USB ports and my mouse will stay lit up, and even though it still stays lit up when it's in the keyboard turned off, it's easier to just pull it out of the keyboard and then the lights are off. However, I just turn off the switch anyway at night, so it don't matter. But it's really nice to have this, and you can put a memory stick in there, you could put literally anything. But yeah, to use that USB pass-through port, the keyboard has two USB ports that plug directly into the computer. So it's good, but at the same time you're missing that extra port. But it does kindly give it back to you with that pass-through. So you're still technically not missing any ports apart from the one that's used for the keyboard anyway. But who doesn't have a keyboard in their computer, so that's absolutely pointless. So even then, you're still not using up any extra ports. However, you don't have to actually have that other port in there, because it only, as long as you have a USB 3.0 port in the back of your computer and you plug the keyboard one into there, you only need that one USB port. However, I've put both in anyway because I like to use the pass-through, and it also can give a tiny bit of extra power to the keyboard. And if you don't have the USB 3 and only USB 2, you can have to plug both in and it will still work like normal. The dual USB port wire coming from the keyboard is thickly braided. However, it does make it a really stiff and thick wire to put on your desk, so make sure you have got that extra room in there and space to fit it down, and don't get it stuck on anything because it is really thick and heavy. Now onto the main jewel of the keyboard, the switches. This keyboard uses Cherry MX's switch, and the ones I have in particular are the Cherry MX Brown, which are tactile but they're quite quiet compared to say Cherry MX Blues, and they still have a nice feel to them, and they don't have a loud clicky noise, but they are certainly audible and fairly loud, but not that loud. However, I seem to love them so far. They've done the job. They are decent for typing as well as gaming, unlike the Reds, which are good for gaming, but typing you're going to make some errors. And the Blues, great for typing, but in gaming you're not going to quite have that edge to them. So as a gamer and typer, it's nice to have these browns in here, which are going to be really useful for me. The Cherry MX Browns are on a RGB switch, so they have the full lighting in there with the 16.8 million colour spectrum in them, with a really nice lighting controller inside to make sure you get the perfect correct colours in the keyboard. So they light up nicely. Haven't had a single problem with them, apart from the fact that if you look super closely to the keys, you can notice some slight bleed. If you look, if you change the LEDs to be a pure white, you'll notice some slight bleed of green coming out of them, and possibly red or blue, slightly to the side. But it's not much, it's not noticeable from a distance, and when they're all flashing and going nuts, you won't even notice it. So overall, that doesn't really matter, unless you're literally staring right at them, expecting it. So sorry for any of you who have got one and are now examining your keyboards and noticing that, and it's going to bug you forever now. In the box, along with the keyboard, came a packet holding some extra keys in there that are gripped with a grey grip on top, which are really nice, and I've currently got the WASD ones in there. However, it does come with a few other letters such as Q, E, I think it comes with R, and a couple others I can't remember. And it also comes with the all-important key remover, which you literally just stick into whichever key you choose, put some force onto it and pull it off, and you can literally swap out any key you want with any other keycap of your choice, which is a really great pro of mechanical keyboards. And it's such a good feature because it's fully customizable to you and however you like it. To the left of the caps lock light, along with the scroll lock and the num lock, is some extra buttons. One's for brightness control, so you can change from, I think it's 3 different levels of brightness. The first one being nothing at all, lights are off, so that's nice, so you don't have to go into the software itself to disable it. And the other one is for some certain functions that you set it to, but its primary use is for disabling the Windows key, and you can also set it to disable certain key combinations such as Alt and F4, Alt Tab, Shift Tab, and all that. So when you're playing your games, you don't accidentally hit that key and pull you out of the game, ruining the whole experience. You're now last in your match or whatever, and now you're losing because you accidentally pressed a key you didn't want to. That is now gone. That won't happen as long as you press that key. And both those 2 keys are also customizable with the lighting. They also have the full RGB, so you can choose whichever colour they appear and what colour they appear when you press them, which is really nice as well. However, you can't put any effects on those keys like the other keys, so they're only static. Now it is time for the all-important sound test of the keys. So like I said before, they are fairly loud and clicky, but they don't have that loud click of the blues. So they are perfect for any kind of home use with other people around or in an office, and they are not going to be just too disturbing to other people, but you can still hear them perfectly fine, and they still have that nice tactile feel to them. Also coming in the box, as well as the manual and the user guide and all that rubbish, and well, actually it doesn't come with the manual at all because that's online, because it's quite long, so forget that, you're not going to get that. But it does come with things like warranty and that rubbish. But it also comes with the all-important wrist rest to make sure your wrist is happy and comfortable. So that has been really nice for me, because I've always had problems with my wrist on the desk. It's always hurts and it gives you a lot of fatigue after a while. But the wrist rest has so far pretty much stopped that. It's very comfortable, it's made of rubber, not as good looking and apparently comfortable as the Razer one for the new Chroma V2. However, it is perfectly fitting, it does its job, and it's all nice and good. It does snap onto the back with these two thingies underneath the thing, and it's fairly hard to get off and on, but once you get the hang of it, you should be perfectly fine. I did have trouble at first working out how to get it on in the first place, but once I turned the keyboard round and saw the slots, I managed to get it in fine. Taking it off was a bit of another matter. I did struggle to get it off, and I almost worried I'd snapped the ends already first day of having the keyboard. That wouldn't have been very good, but I did it in the end, and it's all fine now, it's on there. It did scratch the metal a tiny bit, but I just literally brushed it off and it just disappeared, so that was all good. As well as the amazing Cherry MX mechanical key switches, they also have the features of a full key rollover, where you can literally press any combination of keys at a time and it will register every single one of them, which is really nice when you're, say, playing a MOBA or anything like that, where you've got to press multiple key combinations, more than 3 or something, and if you're using a really cheap keyboard that may not be possible at all, or if you're in a game where you have to fly a helicopter or something and you're pressing, say, shift or whatever to go up and the WSD to turn at the same time, and it won't work properly because you can't press all the keys at once. This keyboard, you can do all of it, no matter how many fingers you have, but it's amazing in that sense. And it's also got anti-ghosting, so you won't ever end up with weird ghosting keys, which you can find examples of that online. And a cool test to find out if your keyboard has got a good N key rollover, so say more than 3 I think it is. If you hold down both shift keys and type in the common phrase, "The quick brown fox jumps over the lazy dog," which implements every single key in the alphabet, so it will find out if it types every letter in it, your keyboard has got N key rollover and it's fairly good. Otherwise, you're using a cheap keyboard, it's time to upgrade. Corsair's Q software, short for Corsair Utility Engine, is what drives your whole RGB needs and wants, and gives you all that flashy lighting and wonderful colours that really make your keyboard shine. It has most definitely improved over the years, because I seem to be able to manage it perfectly fine with no trouble, perfectly simple to use, and it's not been too much of a struggle for me. However, according to pretty much every review I've seen of earlier versions of the keyboard and before, it used to be a really horrible program, and the Razer version always took the praise. But honestly, I don't see a problem with it anymore, and it's been good for me. It allows a variety of lighting effects, which can give anything that you want. You can literally create whatever the hell you want imaginable. Like, I've got a keyboard lighting that's literally Pac-Man eating pellets, or a pumpkin flashing, all sorts. And it's got loads of effects. You've got default profiles, and you can switch them to advanced profiles with all sorts of custom lighting. and you can create whatever you want on every individual key, since each key has its own set of lighting LEDs for every colour, and you can do whatever you want with it. However, if you're too lazy to make something yourself, or you just want to see what other people have made, you can either go onto the Corsiar website and find a profile from there and download it and import it in, or from the software itself there is a section where if you click on the 3 lines at the top on the profiles, and you can select download custom profiles, go to the RGB share, and you can literally search up all the keyboards you want, click them and see what they look like on your keyboard itself, and then you can download them on there and add your profile to them, which is a really nice feature as well. And you can also load up individual lighting from separate ones and merge them together to create your own, which is also a nice feature. There is also actions where you've got the ability to remap every single key to whatever you want. You can also set up macro keys, you can set up a key to type in a certain piece of text whenever you press that key. You can also set them to launch an application or be a timer, or you can do what I've done and set one for profile switching, so when you press that button it'll switch between all your different lighting profiles and loop around however you want in whatever order you choose. So that's also a really nice feature to have, can be really useful. However, they are missing one crucial thing I think that would really be helpful with that key combination, and that is the ability to switch between default and advanced profiles from a macro key on your keyboard. Now I say that because I've got loads of profiles active and some of them are advanced, some are not. When I'm switching between the profiles on my keyboard, only the ones on whichever I've set it to will display, and if I want to see my, say, default ones, I'd have to turn off advanced in the actual program before I can view them, and then I can't view the advanced ones. So I'd really love them to add that feature in because it would help me out so much. One other thing to note about the keys themselves is that they have a custom font on there which is a fairly aggressive gamer look. I personally quite like it, and they are much larger than a default font, so they allow more of the lighting through, and I just think they look quite nice. However, for some people it could be a bit too big and bold, or they might just not like the style at all, so it could be a fairly decent game changer for them. However, like I've said previously, it's a mechanical keyboard. You can swap out the keycaps and put another one in of your choice, and then you can literally pick whatever font you like, as long as the keycap supports the keyboard. Finally, I'm going to talk about the value and pricing of this keyboard. I personally bought this from Amazon UK for a pretty large sum of £159.95, which is fairly expensive. However, it could be a little more according to the price listing, and I still think it's completely worth the money considering the demand and also the quality of the build, and overall I think the value is fairly decent. However, I mean, it could be about £30 lower at roughly average or most, but I don't think you're going to get much cheaper than something like £140. So this is a good keyboard, quite worth the value, worth the money if you're willing to spend that little bit extra and you don't mind the lighting on it. However, if you just want a keyboard that works, good quality, you don't care about how it looks, you don't care about all the extra gaming features, or if you do care about the gaming features but you just want something a bit more simplistic, then go for something like the regular k70 LUX or the LUX Bread, because that one, it's not got all the flashy RGB lightings, and that will severely cut down the price, and you could probably get it for probably about £110 or so, or a little bit more than that, but that's a severely less price. But the RGB I think is worth it, so I stuck with the £160 keyboard. In a US, it's, I think, goes for about 169, something like that. So it's still essentially the same price, and in fact you get better value in the US. So if you're from the US, good on ya, you're gonna get a better price for the keyboard. I got free shipping since I have Amazon, and also I've got the UK layout, so it literally came in a day. Well, 2 days because I set it to 2 days, but it could have come in a day. So the speed was quick, it came nicely, well packaged, and it was just overall fantastic. Price, like I said, a little bit high, but still worth the value. I certainly recommend this keyboard to just about anyone who's willing to put that extra bit of money in there, and especially if they are a active gamer and they also do like that mechanical feel and touch to it and a professional look. If you really don't care about professionalism, you just care about RGB, lighting, flashiness, crazy, go with Razer, the overpriced extreme counterpart who really don't care for quality, Chinese built, and same price. But if you want quality, good build, worth the price but still a bit overpriced, go with Corsair K70 LUX RGB. Definitely a good purchase. Thank you for watching. Please like this video, comment your thoughts on the keyboard, and subscribe to my channel to see more content and encourage further creation and whatever. Goodbye.